You are Locked On Astros POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports Houston on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Taking care of business, exactly what the Houston Astros did today out there in California against the Oakland Athletics. Welcome into the Locked On Astros postcast following the victory today, 5-1 over those A's. I'm Michael Connor, of course, here with you after every single game. You can hit the subscribe button on the YouTube page if you're new to the channel. And, of course, you can find this show on podcast anywhere that you get your podcast. Search for Locked On Astros. We had a couple of days off the last couple of days, but it's good to be back with you all. We have a lot to get to today because they won a baseball game today. And you know what? The Astros looked good in a lot of areas. You know what they did today that I enjoyed more than anything else is that they played a team that they're, better than, and they took advantage of miscues. The A's are one of the worst defensive teams in baseball, and they took advantage of those situations today. They left some stuff out there, sure. As always, you could go through an Astros game or a box score and probably find, 3, 4, 5 things or whatever, that you didn't like. But overall, I don't think that there's a lot to not like in this baseball game today. First of all, again, they got the win. They moved to 24-29. The Mariners already won today, so the Astros don't gain ground there. Now they head off to Seattle. We're going to talk about that series in just a little bit. I am going to give my brief thoughts overall in this series because, again, I didn't do the first couple of games. And the plan, I will go ahead and tell you now as you're watching, they're late-night games this week. I'm going to try to do all 3 games this week, late night. I will not make the promise that we will pull off all 3. Like you guys, I got other things going on in my life, and midnight, if it's looking like it's a midnight show, we might not do a midnight show. If we're talking 11:15, 11:30, we'll probably do it. But starting at midnight, I'm probably going to pass on a weeknight. We'll, talk about them at a later time. So, but they're going to have a big series in Seattle that they're going to have to go and take care of some business in. A little bit of a revenge series based off of the last time that those two teams played. But this series overall, today, like I mentioned, I don't think that there's a lot to complain about. Hits-wise, guys get through the order. Altuve, it's good to see Altuve have a couple of knocks in today's baseball game because he hits the ball hard to right field once. He looked like off the bat he might have 3 hits with that last out that he made there towards the end of the game. He's been a guy that's not swinging the bat great of late. I mean, look, I know it feels wrong to complain about it, but I'm like, gosh, Jose Altuve came into today hitting like 294. And what are you doing, man? You got to pick it up. The Astros need more out of you than that. Simply put, you got to be the 320 guy that you've been on. You can't always expect him to do that, but good to see him do it. Kyle Tucker, I could do this every time that he has a game like this. He didn't have a bunch of hits today. He had the 1 hit, but solo leader in Major League Baseball for home runs in the season. I basically will commit to mentioning it every week that every day that you allow go by is another day that you're going to spend more money on him if you're going to spend money on him. And he continues to prove to you, probably more than, again, we've gone through all the players throughout the years. He's probably proving more to you than anybody outside of, Altuve and Yordan. It's not like Yordan's deal was a long deal. It's a long deal, but not a long, long deal. And we don't even know if Kyle Tucker necessarily has to have that to get his contract done. Excuse me, I feel like I'm going to sneeze. But the more you let it go by, the more expensive he gets. And he's been as consistent as anybody in this franchise for years now. And there's just no reason to fart around with it. He is having a career year. The real question is with the pace that he's at. I need to look and see what his pace puts him at. I'm not trying to do math today. I'm going to be honest with you guys. It is a Sunday, and about 3 o'clock, I was ready for a nap today. But you know what? We didn't take a nap today because we had Astros baseball to discuss, and we had Astros baseball to get a win in to talk about today. He's got to be pacing, though, for what? Probably a 45, 50 per pacing for a – well, if the current pace is accurate, 55 home runs would be his current pace that he's on. I'm going to say he doesn't hit 55, but I'm not even kidding. And you guys can answer it in the comments. Are they absolutely – or is there a chance that he pushes the franchise record in home runs this year? 47. Bagwell in 2000, I believe, when they moved to Enron Field. I don't think it's crazy. I don't think it's crazy at all. And I see your guys' comments there. A couple of y'all talk like, okay, I see the bailed out by an error, or we're still playing. Without that error, 22 runners stranded. It's pathetic. I have to say we won because the A's made mistakes. Like, okay, that's nice and all. They had to do it. They still had to go out there and win. I'm never going to complain when a team makes an error. Did the Astros swing the bat and put the bat on the ball and score runs in that inning when there was an error? Yeah, they did. They scored more runs than the A's today. Isn't that the objective of the game? It's baseball. Not every game is perfect. It is what it is. You're never going to be complete. If you were sitting there hoping for a perfect baseball game, you are never going to be happy. You will not enjoy one of them. And that's okay. Like if that's how you fan, then you fan that way. That's just not how I choose to watch a baseball game. I know there is a built-in failure rate of at minimum 70% for all hitters at the plate. Minimum 70. A lot of guys higher. It's built in. It's going to happen. You get more runs, more hits than the other team, you're golden, right? You're good to go. Simple as that. One thing I did not like from this baseball game today, and I know that we want to get these guys work, is, I mean, I know Hader gives it a run there. He's been so good, but I'm not worried about that one bit. You utilizing all of the back end of your bullpen today, the day before you go play Seattle, why not just get through this one? I know the other guys are beat up and whatnot, but did you have to go to Abreu and Hader? Now, look, it's another day with Brian Abreu. He makes water. It's just he makes water nervous. He makes everything. He makes everything that exists that has the ability to be nervous is what Brian Abreu gives me. But it's just that's the one thing. If I had a real actual complaint today, is utilizing those two guys at the end of the baseball game. When you're going into a big series in Seattle this week. And it's a 4-gamer in Seattle this week. We are going to get to that series in just a little bit. We have not talked about him yet because I wanted to give him plenty of time for what he did out there today on the mound for your Astros. That is Ronel Blanco. He was absolutely magnificent. Huge part of the win for the Astros. We will discuss his contribution, his return from his suspension, what it meant, and why he continues to be the staff ace of this ball club. And we'll do that in just a brief second. But right now, I need to tell you about Policygenius. In life, like a baseball game, there is a beginning and there is an end. And you need to plan for the end. You have loved ones. You want them to be prepared for it when the time unfortunately comes. It could come unexpectedly. It happens. None of us want that, but that absolutely could happen. You don't want to leave those behind, leave the loved ones behind with nothing and no plan for how they move forward. Policygenius is going to get you to the right life insurance, and it's time to knock that off your to-do list. If you've not done that yet, trust me, you need to get it done. You'll feel a lot better about things when you have that in place. This is a group that has no bias. They have nobody that's going to make them sell you on any company. They are there to truly help you find the right fit company-wise that you can get when it comes to life insurance. So again, check life insurance off your to-do list in no time with Policygenius. Head to policygenius.com/lockedonMLB or click the link in the description to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you could save. That's policygenius.com patreon.com/LockedOnMLB. And one more reminder for you guys before we get back to our Astros discussion, and that is Yahoo Finance. You have money in multiple accounts spread out all over the place, 401ks, IRA, all of them, whether it's with Chase, whether it's with you name it, Fidelity, whoever it is that's out there that you have your accounts with, and you're having to constantly log in here to see this, log in there to see that. Well, get invested with Yahoo Finance. That's right. Yahoo Finance, been there for more than 25 years. They have been the brand behind every great investor. Whether you're a seasoned investor, you're looking for the extra guidance, Yahoo Finance gives you all the tools and the data you need in one place. They're the number one financial destination, producing holistic look at the financial news cycle, including breaking news, original editorial perspectives, analyst ratings, independent research, customizable charts, and so much more. You can securely link your brokerage accounts for a unified view of your wealth, including 401k and other investments. A comprehensive perspective is what sets apart great investors, and it's how Yahoo Finance ensures you have the insight to look at your wealth in its entirety. For a comprehensive financial news and analysis, visit the brand behind every great investor, yahoofinance.com. That's the number one financial destination, yahoofinance.com. That's yahoofinance.com. Locked on Astros postcast. Back with you today. Thank you for coming back. We were, again, off for a couple of days, and it's good to be back. If you're new to our channel today, please hit the subscribe button. We're with you after almost every single Astros game. I think since we started, we've missed a total of 4. And I don't plan on missing very many. So we'll be back with you for sure tomorrow night. Astros will be out late night West Coast against the Seattle Mariners in a huge series. We'll talk about that here in just a bit, if I don't have a sneezing fit in just a moment, which I'm still holding off. Find this show anywhere that you get your podcast. Search for the Locked on Astros show, and it is free $99. Who doesn't love that price? Ronel Blanco today, back from the suspension, 10-game suspension, where he, of course, his last start against Oakland had to leave the game after 3 innings when the umpire decided that his glove had sticky substances down in there. Look, it happens. It absolutely happens that, you don't know the rules, which a lot of guys don't. They put, and he's a big-time sweater, you put rosin on your arm, it drips, it gets caught in a place, it's on his, and it wouldn't even been a problem if it was on his pitching hand. Like, that would not have been an issue. He would not have been in trouble. The issue was the fact that he used it on his left hand, his left arm, and that's not allowed. It's only your pitching arm. And that's why Ronel Blanco really got in trouble for it. And there's, of course, the automatic 10-game suspension. And, today, seeing him come back like that is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic this year when, this is a guy that had pitched his butt off for this team so far this season. He's pitched like the ace of the staff. Verlander has been overall good. Of course, he's had his brief moments. He was good, by the way, the other night. I really enjoyed that start for JV Friday night, even though we didn't do the game. I did catch most of it. But those two guys have probably been your best, most consistent starters. And Ronel Blanco has been more consistent than anybody else. I thought it was interesting that Joe Ibotta before the game today had said that he was going to. Why take him out, after 5 innings? Why not get him back out there for the 6th inning like they did? Why not roll him back out there for the 7th after he rolls through the 6th inning? Like he did. 6 strikeouts, just the 1 walk, of course, allowed 1 home run. But he is now, think about this, Ronel Blanco, 5-0 with a 1.99 ERA. I think the Astros have won every start that he's made, but maybe one. What been unbelievable. Where they would be without him is unthinkable. And, it had to calm a lot of nerves to come back out today after what happened. And, people are going to put the spotlight on you and they're going to watch you, and everybody's, you could just go look at, I think it's the Pitching Ninja that, tweets out all the videos and whatnot of pitchers' pitches and everything. And, he tweeted out I think it was the second inning where Blanco struck out 3 in that inning. All 3 Ronel Blanco strikeouts this inning. And you go look at the comments, and the first comment is cheater. Okay. That's nice. but you knew what's going to happen. Simple as that. And he came back out, has to feel great that, he had a moment that was not fun for him, something that is a little bit of a blemish on your resume. And he came back out today and looked every bit like the guy that had pitched that way all season long. And it kind of puts the question to bed, at least it has to, if you have a brain or whatnot that says, maybe this guy's just good. We've talked about that. Like, he's figured something out this year, and then what he's figured out more than anything else is the changeup. Changeup looked filthy today, which is great. When he is rolling like that, he is a tough number to crack. He had everything working. He even used the curveball some today, which was nice. And his command today overall was fantastic. And maybe it helps too that he's not pitching in, even when Minute Maid Park has got the roof closed. I mean, it's still humid as what in there. Maybe not being in humidity helped him out a little bit. It was like 65 degrees and perfect. Yeah, that's kind of wrong when you think about it. I know most of you are watching here in the city of Houston. It is already full on summer out there. And it's like, you see these games and they play, when they play in Oakland, or, they'll be in San Francisco in a couple weeks, and it's the middle of summer, and it's a high of 68 today. Oh, cool. Great for you. I know it costs an arm and a leg to live out there, but God, I'd kill to live in a place like that. Imagine if we had that weather here, when everybody in the world would live here. You wouldn't have anybody wanting to leave. But Blanco was great. Absolutely great in this baseball game today. And again, showed everything that, that he had been doing all season long. And I think that was just a huge sigh of relief for me. I'm sure it was a huge sigh of relief for all of you that he came back out and he performed to the level that he is probably now expecting of himself every time that he goes out there. And, with a guy like this, and, when he's come up briefly before and he's been kind of a wild card or get lit up really quickly, you're still probably always going to hold your breath a tiny bit because you're always afraid, because he's a 30-year-old, breakout performer. Like, you're always going to be a little bit worried that he's going to go back to who he was before, which is a guy that couldn't get to the major leagues, that couldn't perform to the highest of levels when he was here. And, you don't want to see that rearing its head for him again. So I get that part of you will probably always, and I know it is for me, I'm willing to admit that part of me will always hold my breath to an extent to see what exactly he looks like every single start out. But again, today, first one coming out after the stuff that happened, after the suspension, it's really good. And I'm proud of Joe Espada not playing the I'm going to stick to what I said or playing the analytics games or whatever and just letting him roll through 104 pitches today. I mean, seriously, he said, I think what he said before the game today was 75 to 80. He didn't need to come out for 75 to 80. He looked good. He didn't look gassed. And you ride that horse, right? The Astros need to eat innings. And again, this is a week. We're going to talk about this series here in just a minute, but they're in another stretch now. They had the off day on Thursday ahead of this series, but their next off day is not until the 6th of June. So they're playing this series, they're playing the Twins series, and then the Cardinal series. They got a nice month of June. They have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days off in the month of June. There is nothing wrong with that after the stretch of games that they went through in this month. A month that they played very well. There will be something about this Seattle series that's going to be new, but not new. And it's a man returning to play first base. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the series in general in just a couple of moments here on the Locked On Astros postcast. But right now, it's all about LinkedIn. Are you struggling to close business, to close deals? Business to business selling right now is tougher than ever, and that's why I want to tell you about LinkedIn Sales Navigator. LinkedIn Sales Navigator is an intelligence platform that helps professionals effectively prospect and engage high-value customers drive higher revenues, and increase sales performance. Sales Navigator helps you target the right buyers, surface key signals, and shows you hidden allies so you can find those buyers that are most likely to convert. Fueled by LinkedIn's 1 billion member platform, Sales Navigator gives you the most up-to-date first-party enabling you to unlock first-party data, enabling you to unlock conversations with the people that matter. Right now, you can try LinkedIn Sales Navigator and get a 60-day free trial at linkedin.com/lockedon. That is linkedin.com/lockedon for a 60-day free trial. Let LinkedIn Sales Navigator help you sell like a superstar today. Just go to linkedin.com/lockedon and get started. Locked on Astros postcast rolling along for a few more minutes as we will start to wrap up our thoughts after the Astros got a 5-2 victory today over Oakland. Another series win, right? We talked about it a lot when they were as bad as they were, and they're still not great. They're still under 500, but they're only 5 games under, which is very, very good. You're very happy about that at 24-29, and they're still just 3.5 games out in the American League West. Now, technically, they could go out there, and this is scary about the West. You look at the run differentials. The division leader, the Mariners, at 28-26, -7. Rangers, second place, 25-29, -6. The Astros, 24-29, -4. It's just wild. The Astros, actually, if you go off expected win-loss, they'd have a half-game lead in the division right now. All of these teams in the division are expected win-loss to be below 500. It's just crazy how bad this division's been this season. The AL West turned into the AL Central this year. The AL Central has been absolutely atrocious for years, and go look at the AL Central right now. Cleveland, 36-17. Kansas City, 34-20. Minnesota, 28-24. Detroit, 26-27. Then you do have one just terrible team, the White Sox, at 15-39. And then you got the AL West that just decided, you know what, we're going to be the AL Central now. Good for the Astros. But they've had a good month of May. They've got an opportunity to keep pecking away at getting closer to 500. They still have how many games left in this month? They have a total of 5. 5-game winning streak? Anybody up for a 5-game winning streak? I am. Sign me up. But this series in Seattle is huge. The first time that these two teams faced each other last month, in the month of April, that was part of the Astros' frustration of that first month of the season. I was just pulling up the or was it? That was actually in May. That wasn't in April. That was earlier this month. But that was part of the frustration early in this month. It was early. Yeah, that was like this. That was literally the first week of May. They should have won 2 out of those 3 games. They blew the Sunday game. Period. You get them 13 times a year, and you should have been up 2-1. And now you got to go to their place, which their place is not a daunting place to go play. I know that occasionally we'll get Mariners fans that'll come into the comments, or you'll get them on Twitter or whatever. But it's not a daunting place to play. It's not a great home field advantage. I've only been there 1 game. Regular season, look, you can just look at it on TV. They don't draw crowds there. Playoff-wise, that 18-inning game was an amazing atmosphere. But it wasn't daunting. It wasn't like intimidating for the Astros at any point. It was just loud occasionally. But they stayed engaged and they were there all day, which I gave them credit for. But that's not a place that the Astros have ever really had any issues playing this year. So I wouldn't expect that. But they have to go up there and they have to, at minimum, split. You can't do anything less than split. And me being, greedy and wanting better, I think that they need to go take 3 or 4, personally. I think 3 or 4 sends a message. It gets you back up there right at the top of the division. You see what the Rangers do this week. They're just not very good this year. I don't know if they're going to turn it around. I think that they're probably sliding in the wrong direction, even though they got health coming at some point with some pitching. I just don't. I think that they are a classic one-year wonder to me. That's just my opinion. A lot of people would probably hear that and go, "Oh, you're just a Rangers hater." No, I mean, I genuinely thought last year was. I mean, look, they weren't even that great last year in the regular season. They beat the Astros, yes, in 7 games, and then they beat probably the worst participant in a World Series on the National League side ever. Maybe not ever, but in this century, I think so. But that's for a different time. This series is going to be interesting. Jose Abreu comes back. He's going to rejoin the team. He flew to Seattle today. They're painting the pretty picture. They're saying all the nice things like, oh, yeah, he went down to Florida. He worked in Florida. He got his swing right. He got his timing back. He feels good. He's in a better headspace. He said the right things when he visited the media after the game with the Sugar Land Space Cowboys last night. It's great. He also went, 0 for 10 in his 2 games with the Space Cowboys. He didn't get a lot of hits in the instructional league down in Florida. I don't have any expectation other than he's not going to do well. That's my expectation. I think he's going to come back, probably look a lot like he did early in the season, and the Astros are going to reach the breaking point. That's my prediction. I hope that I'm wrong. I'd love to be wrong. I mean, look, I was the guy that a month ago said the Astros aren't going to make the postseason, and they're 3.5 games out of being a division leader. I'm glad to be wrong. I'm glad that I'm going to end up being wrong there. They're 4.5 back, by the way, in the wild card. They're probably going to end up making it. But I don't think Jose Abreu is coming back and helping this baseball team. I don't think there's any signs of it. And I think that he talked a lot openly about the mental side of it and not feeling like himself and being confident and all those things. And look, anybody knows it. You play any kind of sport, and really, to me, the sports where, and it messes with you on all sports. I shouldn't say that. Like basketball, you get into a shooting slump. That'll mess with you. I'm sure as a quarterback, like in football, if you're missing passes left and right, it feels that way. I just played on the line, so I don't know anything about that. Baseball, yeah, when you're not hitting, and then golf, to me, I still struggle with it to this day. I'm going through the shanks right now, my irons, and I'll hit 5 or 6 good ones in a row, and then I'll just shank one off to the right, hitting off the hosel, and the next thing you know, you can't hit the ball straight because my mental goes, oh God, here we go again, and I'm thinking about it. But I've been pounding away on the driving range, and I'm starting to get out of it, and I'm starting to feel good again, and the mental part of it goes away. So that's baseball, though, too. What happens when he comes back up here and doesn't get results? Because, again, I'm just going off of what I know. I know that they can say all the right things, but what I know is in the short period of time that he went and played minor league baseball, there weren't results. Why is he suddenly going to get results at the major league level? That's why I have no expectation for how it goes. And I don't think that this is something that you would not push him back into the lineup if he was not making $19.5 million. That's the only reason they're doing it. John Singleton's not the best first baseman in the game. John Singleton has been a far more productive player than Jose Abreu could even dream of this year. He gets on base at a decent clip. He has an OPS that's above league average, and you can live with it. And he hits the ball hard. He hits the ball over the fence some, too. I feel bad for John that he's going to lose some playing time. I don't think that he deserves to lose his playing time right now, based on their current situation. If they got a better first baseman than John Singleton, lose your playing time. It's fine. But losing your playing time consistently for a minute to Jose Abreu, to me, is a little bit of a tough pill to swallow. And I think it also makes your team worse. I do. So I'm very interested to see how Joe Espada plays this. I don't think you bring him back and play him every day. I think it's a mistake. I think you platoon him. What has he done outside of having a $19.5 million contract this year and next year that deserves playing on an everyday basis? Nothing. So I think that's the storyline that I'm most intrigued in when it comes to, outside of course the games and if they're contentious and whatnot against Seattle, when it comes to this series up there at T-Mobile Park this week. So will be interesting to see what happens. Well, of course, again, the plan for the first 3 games of this series, I'm planning on doing all 3 games, postcast shows. I reserve the right, if the game is dragging and it's looking like it's going to be a midnight start, to go ahead and hit the bed. But these games have been moving at a pretty good pace. 2.5-hour baseball games, we're starting this by 11:30, 11:40, that's fine. But I'm not trying to stay up till 1 a.m. So, again, just keep it locked with me on X or Twitter. I guess it's officially X now. Still stupid. At Connor Michael, you see there down in the corner of the screen. Again, if you're new today to the channel, thank you for joining us. Please hit the subscribe button. Tell everybody that you know to hit the subscribe button. We're creeping towards 1,000 subscribers, and you guys don't even know how much I appreciate it. We've been doing this for like a month and a half, and we've almost hit 1,000. It means a lot, but let's get to 1,000. Help me out. Help a fellow Astros fan out. A lifelong Houstonian Astros fan get to the 1,000 subscriber mark. And then I will do the show shirtless or something. I don't know. Not really. But have a great rest of your Sunday evening. Enjoy some rest and relaxation. We'll talk tomorrow night, late night, after some West Coast baseball right here on the Locked On Astros Postcast.